break.
Look at this woman's facial expression on just being approached by a guy that she considers good looking. He hasn't used any attraction techniques, nor has he been particularly charismatic or said anything memorable or exceptional. After such a positive reaction based solely on his looks, how likely is this woman to make the setting up of a date hard for this guy? How likely is she to throw what's known in the pickup art community as shit tests, which is when, in an interaction, a woman puts a man down to test his masculinity and congruence? What do you think the phrase love at first sight suggests? It can't mean love, because the woman doesn't know what the man's personality, money, status and background are like, and the man can still turn her off with any one of those being unattractive. Love at first sight must mean attraction at first sight. How do you attract someone at first sight? Having status and being the center of attention. Your posture, physique, charisma, grooming and dress sense will help, but the biggest part of attracting someone at first sight are your looks. A man's looks even matter to you as a straight male. That's why when advertisers want you to buy their razors, they use guys that look like this.
Get closer to the one you love,
rather than guys that look like this. When you play a brave, masculine, alpha male soldier in a video game, he looks like this. And the weaker, less dominant guys look like this.
He seems to have it in for me.
We'll see what I can do, Frank. Don't worry about it.
And get treated like this.
Ain't that yourself, Beans?
You will have positive assumptions and expectations about persons if they're good looking. And you will have positive assumptions and expectations about products if they're associated with good looking people. You will believe that the good looking guy uses this particular razor, which allows him to get a good looking wife. And that the masculine, good looking soldier has the balls to go to war and is respected by his colleagues. And you don't even want to date men. Imagine how females feel. Let's hear more from Dr. Frank L. Connor in his discussion on the psychology of love.
People who are artificially disfigured, and in fact, if we had somebody in this room right now, and I took and, had a theater department and had them artificially disfigured, and they were sitting here, people wouldn't sit around them. People sitting on this experiment was done in New York, having people on a subway train, and they had, like a big scar or something. People would not sit by them. We migrate towards attractive people. Now, what does that mean? Well, there is culturally attractive, some of these folks here. And they're popular because they're culturally attractive. In fact, we associate attractiveness with all positive qualities. We assume that attractive people are smarter. We assume that attractive people do better things for the world, that they get in trouble less. In fact, we assume that they are less promiscuous. In every study that's been done, it shows that we believe that ugly people actually have sex in an inappropriate way more than attractive people. So we attribute all good things to attractive people, which is why they're more successful, because they should be, right? Now, what does attractiveness mean, though? Because there is a cultural norm that you have a face that is symmetrical, that both sides are essentially the same. Big eyes, high cheekbones, small nose in proportion to your face. You have an attractive mouth.
You'll hear more from Connor later in the show. Eric von Markovic, who goes by the name Mystery, is a pickup guru whose popularity both inside and outside of the PUA or pickup art community reached its height in the mid-2000s. He's a wealthy businessman, owner of the pickup company Venusian Arts. In the late 2000s, he even had a VH1 TV show in which he taught so-called lovable losers how to become ladies' men via adopting a seductive personality using his seduction techniques. In his TV show, The Pickup Artist, the first thing he changed about the contestants on the show was their appearance. The pickup art community believes that your outer appearance and grooming matter. Of course these matter, but the improvements that Mystery made to the appearance of some of these contestants were changes to their actual looks. Matt Radmanovich had the gap in his teeth filled.
Hi, Doctor. Nice to meet you. Mystery called.
So I've got the space in my teeth.
Ryan Turner was given a tan.
How are you? Good. I'm gonna give you a 6-pack.
Greg Fellows' glasses were removed and replaced with contact lenses. Why were these changes made? These improvements to the contestants' looks were so that they could display more health characteristics. Just like masculinity, certain facial proportions and indicators of youth, indicators of health are attractive. Bad formation in teeth isn't attractive because it denotes bad bone formation and bad oral hygiene. Pale skin is seen by many as unhealthy looking and suggests that a person has conditions such as anemia. Glasses denote blindness, which is also a display of bad genes, unless you look like Clark Kent. And women want a guy with the best genes possible to give their offspring the best chance of survival. This may seem illogical. If a woman only wants a one-night stand with a guy, or isn't even thinking of having children with a guy yet, why would she care about a man's genes? It's because it's hardwired into her attraction switches. Women are genetically predisposed to seek out those genetics in a man that will give their offspring the best chance of survival. A child with bad bone formation, who has a blood-related disorder, or who is partially sighted is more vulnerable to attack, resulting in the possible weeding out of his genes. Neil Strauss is now a rich pickup guru in his own right. In 2005, he released a book about his experience living as a pickup student under Mystery's wing, traveling with Mystery, living in Mystery's mansion, and reportedly learning how to get better at seducing women. That book, The Game, would go on to be a bestseller and bring pickup into the mainstream. Mystery didn't think that Neil was ready to learn how to seduce women until he had improved his looks.
Is there a barbershop around here? Unfortunately, there was. Mystery sat me in a chair and told Margot to make sure the barber shaved down to the skull. Balding is not a choice, but bald is a choice.
Mystery was aware that an obviously balding man is unattractive, as it's a display of poor genetics. Later, we'll talk about exceptions to this, such as Jason Statham and Dwayne Johnson. It's a sign of aging rather than a sign of youth and fertility. It also denotes the lack of control that a man has over his situation, and confident guys are in control. So the balding hair became fully bald, the nerdy glasses face furniture became contact lenses, the pale skin became tanned. But after an initial focus on looks, Mystery spent the rest of the boot camp teaching the pickup artist contestants about seduction techniques. But if you focus on improving your looks, is most of the work done for you by the woman? Why is the importance of improving your looks so downplayed when having good looks can make seducing a woman far easier?
Okay, Max, you are one handsome guy. Whoa. I don't normally like to fly, but I am changing my mind. Listen, we don't have much time, so we want to play, okay?
I'm ready.
I'm ready to play anytime too, Max, all right? The childhood prank known as a wet willy involves putting a wet finger in someone's what? Anywhere you want to put it, Max, all right?